All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Oh, sore stiff. Well, I'm not as sore as I thought I would be, but I am pretty stiff. My legs are just like completely deadified. Got my laundry done. See, last night I got back here. I was so tired from the bike ride. Uh, Plus I had like 6 books with me, 2 water bottles. So I probably had about 20 pounds on my back. Got a pipe this morning over. My uncle put it out there for me. Saw him yesterday. He said, I got some stuff for you there. So I got to drag it over here for the next scrap metal run. Got to get some gas so I can cut my darn grass. I can't even see my Bernhardt anymore with the arrow in it. And some of you guys liked it. I think it's going to be a cool idea. Got my new tee off for my clubs. Forgot to bring down my clubs. Well, that's okay. I had to grab a pipe anyway. So I guess I'm going to take the seat off of this bike and put it on my other bike because that seat was just murder on me yesterday. Oh, it took me so long to pedal yesterday. Yeah, sure, I'm a year older, but that was something else. Snippy Shark and Nippy Shark. There's Snippy Shark. Nope, sorry. There's Snippy Shark. Where's Nippy Shark? Nippy Shark's right in front of me. There's Plant Bob. Hi, I'm Larry. My brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl. Yep. Tell me what show that's from. Yeah, hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl. Daryl here says, is that right, Daryl? No, the other Daryl. that was a pretty good show. I used to watch it all the time. That was probably the funniest part of the show. It was, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl. I'm gonna get into comfier shoes because I'm doing the school today. But yeah, these are the books I picked up yesterday. How to do this collision over Toronto Airport. That could be. It looks like an old book. It was $1.95 whenever it came out, so it'd be an interesting read there. So I got that. Got another James Patterson book. Loaded Dice. James Swain. I never heard of him. I researched her yesterday. She wrote a lot of books. An Embarrassment of Mangoes. Who knows what that could be? Hopefully it's funny. I don't have a lot of funny. I'm looking at all the different books I got. It seems like like murder mysteries. No problem for murder mysteries, but I don't have enough horror books. Ugh. Oh, kidding. Sitting hurts. Sitting hurts a lot. Oh, my tailbone is so sore. Not too bad, but sitting on a hard object. that seat, yeah, last year that seat was fine, but this year it's like, no, I guess the padding's just too far gone. And plus, with the backpack, you don't realize you put on an extra 20 pounds on your backpack, you're putting an extra 20 pounds on your freaking pelvic muscles, because your pelvic, right where those two ridge muscles are, that's exactly what's sitting on the seat. So. And because I did both places yesterday, it's like 2.5 hours of biking out of the day. I basically cycled for almost as long as I worked. I worked 3.5 hours between the two places. I called it after an hour at the other place because I was starting to feel raindrops and the wind was starting to pick up, and I figured, well, at least I get a little bit of raking done. I'll be okay. Oh, so much lighter. Oh yeah, and I was pedaling in these things, so my legs are dead tired. Thank God it wasn't in those things. Those things are like 10 pounds. Literally, they're about 10 pounds, 5 pounds each. It's like walking around with leg weights. Like, there's not an ounce of fat on my legs. I'll tell you that. I might have a little chub here and there, but not on my legs. My legs are like, if I can get rested for, a day and a half, whatever, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be able to my legs will be pretty good. I'm not saying I'm gonna go up and start kickboxing or anything, but yeah. I got the door open. Today's the day I wanted to get all my windows all opened up, but I'm not gonna have a day off for a long time yet, and my thinking is that like especially because I like to air out the places. I want to have that window opened up all day, so that one I'm just going to start with that one. But man, do I ever got to wash these windows? It's just like problem is on my day off, like I'll be working 20 out of the 21 days, and then whatever next week is. So next week I'll be probably about 25 days of working out of the last past month. So that's it's hard on the body, but you don't get anything done. I got a little bit of whippersnipping done around here. Okay, I told you guys about the whippersnipper. I think. Did I tell you about the whippersnipper? But anyway, I got Snippy Shark back working. Remember, I said it was bogging last year and whatever, and I had to put it aside to work on it. And I did. I never got a chance to. Like it's kind of like I had all winter to do it, but I was like, okay, I'll do it in the spring. But spring was really late, and I still didn't get a chance to do it. So it's like, well, okay, well, the other morning we did the first grass cut for one client. I did grass yesterday, second cut, or second client, first cut of the season, and like we're almost at the end of May. We're just starting to cut grass now. Again, if it wasn't for the scrap metal runs, I'd be in mercy mode. Like that's the downside to cutting grass is that you're at the mercy of the weather. But anyway, I grabbed the whippersnipper. Thought I'll just give it a pull and see what happens. I grabbed it, primed it once. Wait, and I noticed that the ball was empty because it had been sitting long enough. Like it had been sitting since last season. I think it was like 3/4 of the way through the season. It started acting up, and I didn't have time to look at it. And anyway, it's like it ran fine for like about 5-10 minutes. I was like, I guess I'm taking it to work then. You know what I mean? Season 4 with this $222 freaking because I got it on sale for $179, and those things are like $220 all day long. And I bought that for you. This will be the 4th season with that whippersnipper. Okay, so talk about return on investment. Like to give you an idea, not yesterday but the day before, the $60 whippersnipper I bought, okay, it made $165 in 5.5 hours, right? So, like that's kind of what it's going to do all week, right? It's just like 120, 160, 180. If we've got an all day thing, it's like $200. Like basically, the thing pays for itself once a day. You can't get there's almost nothing I know of that has that kind of return on investment in tools. Like it's just I mean, you buy a dump truck, it takes years to pay it off. You buy a chainsaw, it takes about a year or so to pay it off, right? Or maybe 6 months or whatever, depending on the jobs you're doing. If you've got really good jobs, well then yeah, you can pay it off in 1 or 2 jobs, right? But the whippersnipper, it's like pays itself off daily. Like it's pretty good. But anyway, I start whippersnipping, and I grabbed Snippy Shark. I got Snippy Shark and Nippy Shark, right? So Snippy Shark, I grab him, I pull, blah, blah. It starts, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm sitting there with every time I'd give the trigger a little bit of a shot, it would just bog out like it did last year. And I couldn't, for the life of me, figure it out. It's like it was running perfect at the house, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have time to mess with it. So I did it the whole day with the other one, and man, Nippy Shark was running pretty hot by the end of the day. That's why I like to have 2 whippersnippers going at any one time. You fill one up, you run it. When it's empty, you put it aside, let it cool for a bit. By the end of the day, both machines get pretty hot. I mean that's like 5.5 hours to 6 hours of daily doing that. Like those machines aren't built to do that, but yet they do it, right? So anyway, we're just about to leave. I'm about to put both whippersnippers back into the thing, just for the shits and giggles. I give it a little prime. One pull, away to go. Sat there, my buddy's looking at it. There's nothing wrong with it. I said, I know, but you heard it earlier, right? Going bullet, bullet, like it was last year. He goes, yeah, weird. And trying to figure out what it was. And then I started thinking about something. Okay, that whippersnipper, this is what happened. I bought it. I primed it 3 times. Pulled it. Never primed it again. Never had to. The bubble was always full, right? But I noticed that the bubble wasn't full yesterday morning. I pressed it like once, and away it went. But the second time I started, I didn't press the bubble thing. And then when I got home, I realized it was empty. So I thought, well, maybe I got like a little bit of an air leak in there. That happens over time. Those bubble things go, right? A little priming bubble. I primed it once, twice, three times. Brah, ran around here, did it all the way around the house except for one little spot or whatever because I got bicycles in the way, but that's no problem. Did around the well a bit, did the entrance coming in. I ran around for about 10, 15 minutes, just, whippersnipping the shit out of everything with it. It ran fantastic. And I was like, oh, I guess my little priming bubbles go. So I got to buy another one, but I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait till it really goes. Like there's probably, it could be the fuel line has a little air leak in it or whatever, it deprimes itself. Then, you have to prime it or it won't stay primed. But yeah, if that's all it is, like that's nothing, like that's just, that's just wear and tear. Because the other one, like it doesn't deprime either after a while. But I could buy other whippersnippers, but like the priming balls are like $8. I want to buy 2 new filters for it next month. I'll probably buy maybe 2 priming, like a priming ball, and some new fuel line or whatever. This fall, I'll switch all that out. Then I started thinking about my, because it was bogging like my other saws were bogging, right? But I think the other thing I thought of was maybe the caps, the air vent in the caps is, clogged up and it wasn't getting enough air. But I ran it with the cap off just to see if it wasn't that. So, but that said, I should probably, maybe every 3 years or whatever, replace the caps just cause. But it's also too like for me, it's I can't afford the downtime with it, right? So I technically have 3 good whippersnippers. I don't need a fourth one. Those FS38s, I'm a true believer in them. If you run them and if you only have one, you're going to burn it out, right? But if you have 2, you could cycle them even it's on the really hot days where it's like, okay, if it's going to be like 30 degrees out and I'm whippersnipping, and yes, I do, do some whippersnipping on the tall stuff. And if it's really hot out, usually I don't whippersnip because it just burns the grass. But I got 3 of them, right? It's really tedious to bring 3 of them. But, by the time you finish the fuel on the third one, the other 2 have had enough time to cool down, you cycle them that way. And then my buddy has 2, right? But he only brings 1. I'm like, I always have the backup, Like to me, there's never like for the way I look at it is I don't know what the duty cycle is on the FS38s, right? So like, is it like 2 tanks and then let it rest, or is it like you can run 5 tanks and then let it rest? I don't know how it works with those, right? So some machines are like that. Usually like once it starts popping and stuff like that while it's idling, or when you give it, you get like backfires and pops. The things get really hot. You know what I mean? Then you want to give it a break. But you got to finish your job, right? So you can't just take a break. Oh, I got to take a break because my whippersnipper's too hot. You just switch out whippersnippers. The brush cutter, I could put the whippersnipper on that one. I don't like that one for whippersnipping at the client's place because it's usually more details used there. But one client, it doesn't matter because like everything there is just like kill it all, But where the aesthetic has to be really good, then it's But the FS38s are really easy to use, right? They're really easy to use because they're 10 pounds, like where my other machine's like 15 or 18 pounds or whatever, So it's got big buckhorns on it or whatever. I love it, like as a brush cutter. I do like it if I'm doing like a big field or something. It's nice and fast for that if I'm whippersnipping it that way. But I mainly use it as the brush cutter, and I just leave the brush cutter blades on it. If I get time today, I don't know if I will. Depends on what time I get back at. If I get back at a normal time, I'm going to see if I can get the brush cutter going, the whippersnipper going. Even though I only do 20 minutes, I mean 10 minutes and 10 minutes, just to get the property, just like if I can only do 10-minute segments per night, whatever, Like I'm not gonna go and do like 4 hours of grass cutting here. You know what I mean? Like I just like I just don't have the energy and the time to do that. I got to rest my body sometime, right? But I could do get home from work. Okay, I got enough piss and vinegar in me to do 10 minutes on the whippersnipper. I'll do that. Yeah, and the whippersnipping is not going to be done every week anyway. Like it's going to be maybe every 2 weeks. Like around the house, I'm gonna around the well, I'll do a little more aesthetic there. But like as far as like the whole property, like I'll do sections at a time. You know what I mean? Like the ditches. Like the idea is just to clean them up, get all that heavy growth underneath, gone. I got more emphasis on the brush cutting, and the brush cutter, whipper snips a bit as it brush cuts too. Like it takes away some of the scotch grass. But until I get like it really brush cutted where everything's cut right down, and I can get in there with the whipper snipper, that's the big one, right? So, but it's coming together. But I'm glad I got both whipper snippers up and going. I do have a bit of sawing to do. Uh, 2 trees, 3 trees. There's 2 or 3 trees I have to cut up at my clients, unless you can pull them away at the gator. Yeah. So, and then there's one I got to fall, but I haven't looked at the one I have to fall. Maybe I can get away with the pole arm saw. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, I got to see my clients yesterday for the first time this season, and I found the key for the riding mower. It's like it was where I thought it was, and stuff like that. I'll have to call him. It's just he's got guests right now, so I don't want to bug him until maybe tonight when his guests are gone or whatever. Because like I found the key, but he's got a spare key anyway, so at least we got a spare if we need it. But yeah, so everything was good there. There was only a couple little branches down. I was talking to the wife, and she was doing good. She broke her ankle snowshoeing. I was like, oh no! I told her about my toe and stuff like that. So yeah, I broke my ankle, and she just had like a freaking hip replacement like last year, the year before, whatever. Like, poor girl. But of course they got another puppy dog. Right, they got the older dogs, it's some sort of a poodle shepherd kind of thing, right? And they're nice dogs. Like it's a bigger dog, right? And then this little fuzzball comes out. And he's like super happy. I think they call him Otis or something like that, like Otis or something like that. Anyway, like it's like, oh yeah, yeah, we're friends, instant friends. Tail wagging, just don't pee on me. You know what I mean? There's little puppy dogs that get so happy they'll pee on you. Right? But is he ever cute? I just had to watch him. I just had to watch out because it's like I'm on the riding mower, right? So it's like, they're kind of like puppy dog stupid, eh? So you got to watch out for puppy dogs. But yeah, no, everything went really well. I got there at 9:30, or sorry, at 10. Started cutting the grass at 10. It was still a little bit wet because it was a little bit long because this is the first cut, so it's been basically growing for 3 weeks. So it was a little thick. So I did some raking. Got to drive. I drove the old Gator. I haven't drove this Gator since 2014. Was the last time I drove this Gator. It was her dad's like kind of like prized possession, right? This Gator, whatever, and stuff like that. So I drove it for the first time. Forgot how those things were. Right? It's got an electric dump box on it. It's a fun little yard thing. It's purely a yard working thing, right? So yeah, so it's pretty cool. I like it. He's going to get another bagger for the mower, but he wants to get a new one because the old bagger is just like it slows things down so much because of the way you gotta like it's like there's all kinds of clips you have to undo and stuff like that. It's too slow, right? Um, but if we get the new bagger on there, the one thing is that you can't go as tight with it, and there's some spots where it's like it's a pain in the. Like a bagger has to be something you can detach in like 2 minutes. If you have to unbolt things and pull all kinds of pins and stuff like that, it becomes a real pain in the ass because especially when you have all these tight spots that you got to get into, right? So, but he's talking about. But for me, I'm like, it's so much. It's faster with the rake than it is with the bagger because the bagger fills up right away. Then you got to go dump it, and so you're talking about 25, 30 dumps in a day. you're talking about an extra hour of just bagging. You know what I mean? Like where you could be doing 15 or 20 minutes of braking at the most. You know what I mean? It's strange, but that's how it works. Now, mind you, the newer baggers, you could, you pop the top off, you dump it, bang, away you go. Those are good. Those are good. I don't know if this machine's compatible with that. So that's the only thing. So we'll see. We'll see. I like it either way. So, I was doing my rounds with the mower, kind of like Mario Andretti style there. I was driving it like a madman. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I got that done. So everybody's all done for the week except for we got to do the school today. I don't know if my buddy and I are going to be doing something after because got to move patio stones. I don't know if we're doing that. It's like 50 patio stones, but those things are 108 pounds a piece, right? So there's 50 some odd patio stones we got to move. We got the dollies, but I think he's got two dollies there. He got one for sure. So it's like, yeah, got to do all of that. It's so labor intensive, right? like it's extreme labor intensive this week. Like it's like, and then tomorrow, I'm digging in the raised beds again. God knows what else I'll be doing there, but it's like it's so hard on the body just getting going for the first week or two. It's just like pure, like once you get used to the intensity of it, it's like okay, it's not so bad, like you just but everything is just so so sore. Yeah, so but I've got my finances and I'm at $340 towards either a bike or an amp or something. And I do have another account where I could get something cool bike wise. I saw that kid with the e-bike there yesterday. He's sitting there, woo! And he's upgraded. He's upgraded. He's got a faster one. Like I like the idea of like 28 kilometers or 25 kilometers an hour. What I don't like I need at least a minimum of 60-kilometer range. Like I need like a 300-kilometer range so I can go back and forth all week. But I saw a motorbike yesterday on the way back. It's one of those Chinese CL bikes. I don't think I'd buy it, but it looked like a nice bike though. Like it was sitting out there for the for sale sign on it, 700 cc's. It's just those things you can't get parts for them. Like you buy them at like Canadian Tire or whatever, but you can't like you can get some parts for them, but like they're not like if it's like 6 months to get a part, like I want something that go in the dealership. Okay, yeah, I'll be here in 3 days, kind of thing, right? Still looking at bikes. Still looking at trucks. Looking at everything. Not a lot of cars in my area right now. A few trucks, but nothing I can afford, or anything I can afford. It's pretty rough, So who knows what I'll end up with? But yeah, did that last night. I didn't work on my book last night. I was just so wiped out. Like I was just like, you know, the worst part of the cycling yesterday was the seat. It's just like that seat is no longer tolerable. Like it fits me, but for whatever reason, it's just like I like the adjustment, like the leg height and all that was fine, but that bike's too small for me. That's one of the things. Like when you're cramped like that, and it's hard on the knees when you're cramped. Even if you get the seat to leg height proper, you're too hunched over. You're too close. You know what I mean to the bars. You need a bit of space. So like that bike's about two sizes too small for me. So it's a 50 frame, but I need like a 54 to 56 probably. 56 is probably a little on the big side. 54 is probably just the sweet spot. 52 would be better, but it still wouldn't be enough. Like I need to be up about 6 inches higher because I can't shoulder check when I'm on that thing. It's not like it's like a really aggressive road bike, like but shorter in. So you're like, like, yeah. So it's hard on the back too. So your back's always kind of hunched when you're riding, but your head's always kind of like look like like your head's kind of always down. Uh, no proper alignment, like like on a mountain bike or whatever, like on a road bike. Yes, you're in an aero position, but like depending on the type of road bike, like if you have an endurance road bike, you're actually up quite high. You can actually easily do, you've got the room to do shoulder checks, but like with the backpack on, impossible to do shoulder checks with that. And there's a safety element there, right? So, but maybe if I get the other bikes up and going, I should be okay. There's one bike that's going to be tall enough, but I got to get the tires on it, and I think I just got to hook up the brakes and like almost everything's there, but not quite there. So it's just, when am I going to get to do it? Like, yeah, when am I going to get to do it? And that little bike there, I got to put a front brake on it at least. If I could, I'm sure there's some brake here around here that I could. I must have something that I could put on there, and then I'm going to give it to my nephew. See, but that's like a real BMX. Like it's a heavy framed BMX. So like definitely not for distance, but like that would be cool. Like I mean, it'd be cool for me, let alone him. You know what I mean? I'd have to put a much taller seat on there, but do stuff, start doing stunts. Yeah, if your body's not worn out, you can do that, right? I gotta get back to reading my books. I haven't read a book there, well, other than working on my own book, but it's been 3 or 4 days since I've been able to read the Tom Clancy book. I'm almost halfway through. I'm just focusing on this book right now for reading because I can't focus on all the other 10 book for 12 books or whatever it is. So I'm about there. Yeah. Shadow of the Dragon. Not a bad book. Not a bad book. It's not going to be in my top 10, but well, I don't know. So far, no. I think this book is a better book so far, but I'm not very far in. I'm only that far in, but so far it's pretty action packed. So but I want to get back to reading those. I'm hoping I make a whole bunch of money this summer. That when I'm sitting on my ass this winter coming, that I can read all my books, keep working on my song there. I just got to finish the lyrics for that one, then I can work on the next one. But I don't know. It's just once you get close to spring, it's like you're trying to get everything all done and set up, and like you just lose time or whatever. But I am going to be playing my drums a little bit more. Foot's not too bad. My toe's not too bad. It's not hot, like the nail's still a little bit black, but it didn't fall off. So, yeah. So still not ready to kick a soccer ball yet, but yeah, there's that. But the good news is like as I accumulate books and stuff like that, like I'm even looking at new books just to see what's out there. There's only a handful of books I actually want to buy. Like that. It's like, oh, I know I'll like that, right? But I started researching like Chris Hadfield's books. I have 3 of them. 2 of the same book, the Apollo Murders, and he's got another one. I think it's called The Final Horizon. It looks similar. I want to get it, but it's like $39. I'm like, okay, I'll wait till it. It's because I think that one's pretty new. He's written quite like he's only written about 4 or 5 books, but there's a lot of books about him, right? Chris Hadfield, the astronaut. So it's pretty cool. So I was looking at that. Project Hail Mary. I know they just put out the movie. I don't want to see the movie. I want to read the book. But I want. There's 2 versions of the book now, and that book I would buy. The other one I want to get is called The Wager, and it's not it's not the Essex. Basically the Essex was the ship that Moby Dick was based upon. But it's a survival story. I don't know if it's a survival story, like a shipwreck survival story that was real, or if it's a fictitious one. I know Leonardo DiCaprio is like they just did a movie on it, but it's like tall ships. I love anything that I watched Master and Commander there a week or 2 ago. I love that movie. I saw it in the theater. It was so good in the theater. especially when they're in the fog there, the opening scenes when they're in the fog. Yeah. What's that? Down! Freaking cannonballs flying everywhere. I love that kind of stuff. I like anything to do with like colonial movie. Like I like colonial like ship warship like movies. Like I don't think there's a more terrifying way to die than in like a tall ship battle. It's just it's like it's just so brutal. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's the splint. If the cannonball doesn't take you out, the splinters will. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, yeah. Like that. Can you imagine? You can imagine that. Like here you are. Like there's almost no wind, and two ships coming alongside each other at like one knot. It's like the anticipation sitting there not to like fire too soon. Like oh my god, from like a couple of feet away, sitting there, wait till the big cannons line up and then start blasting at each other. Right? That'd be crazy. That'd be absolutely insane. I still want to get Moby Dick because it's a classic, right? I'm sure I'll come across it eventually. The only classics I got now, I got 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird. There was another one I got the other day. What was it? It was another classic anyway. So I got lots. I got lots of stuff. But I want to get this Tom Clancy book finished by the end of the month if I can. At least I can say I read one book this month, and then like by summer's end, if I could have all these books done, that would be great. It depends. It all depends. But you see, what's slowing me down on the book reading right now is the fact that I'm writing my book and putting my attention on that. Like that's like writing average about 10 pages a night. My goal is to have the book completely written out and the first round of edits done by the end of the month, right? And then I'll do a second reading, or it won't be a second reading, it'll be my sixth reading of the book. Like the more you read your book, the more you're going to catch on your book, and the more you're going to say, okay, I like this, I don't like that. I'm more just going for spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, and plots in the story where it's like, okay, like for example, it's like he put on his green shirt. Then later in the book, oh, he spilt the coffee all over his blue shirt. You know what I mean? Like it's like, no, he's got a green shirt on, right? Stuff like that. So you read your story, you'll catch that stuff. Um, I think I'm doing pretty good, but it's funny because even though like you get rid of all the red line, underlined stuff, like there's certain words, like for example, there's certain words that the spell check doesn't recognize, or it's a word like two, and two, right? Like or there, and there, right? Uh, like knowing which one to use, and sometimes like you instinctively use one over the other, and you got to read it a few times to catch it. So you don't look too much like an illiterate fool. If you're lucky, the people that are reading it are illiterate enough that they don't catch it themselves. But the connoisseurs are going to catch it right away. Right? This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's got 2 spelling mistakes in the book. That's it. I'm out. No, I think people are going to like the book. I think they're going to like. I'm on my 6th reading of the story, and I still enjoy it. Like I wrote something that I myself would read. So okay, I'm biased because I'm writing it, but it's like I don't have any of the okay, no, on second thought, that's not good enough. I'm going to do this and so. Like some stuff I might reword it a little bit on the rewrite, but it's just like okay, yeah, just clean that up a bit. But the story hasn't changed. Like the story is going to follow suit. Now my goal is I put out the book. If the book makes enough money to get a professional edit done, I'll do that. But I only want to edit the book professionally once. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like version 1, version 2, version 3. Like I'm not gonna constantly. Oh, somebody found a mistake. Go. Like I know you can correct that any time, but I want to just. I want you to be able to buy the first version, and that's the only version. Until the revision, and then revise it once. And if there's anything wrong with it after that, just leave it. Why? Because that time I'll be on my 3rd or 4th book. Hopefully my second book won't take me too long. Like my goal was to have the book done in 4 months, and I'm now in month 5. Like I'm at 4.5 months there now, pretty much, right? So I'm thinking if I could at least have the book written out and edited in June, like like it's not wishful thinking. It's just it depends how exhausted I am at night. But if I can get a night where it's like, okay, didn't work too hard that day, and I jump on the computer at say 4 o'clock or whatever, get all set up, and then 5 o'clock and go till like 11 o'clock at night. Maybe I can get 20 or 30 pages copied out, right? If that's the case, I'll finish the book in the next 10 days or so, or not even the next 3 or 4 days. I got 139 pages left to do, right? So that's not too bad, But I'm trying to give you quality, not just quantity. Like if I was just getting it down there as fast as I can and then going back and re-edit, like it doesn't matter. I have to spend the time on the editing anyway. So this is like the second manuscript, technically, the third, but this is like the second manuscript. So what I'm doing with that is like I'm just taking my time with it because I got to take my time with it anyway. Like the line editing part is probably, like just read it, like just keep going with it. I'm not going to print out like 10 manuscripts and then, okay, read, oh, I found a mistake, do it again, reprint it again. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the book all printed out, like all typed in. And then I'm going to get a proof copy. Like I'm going to do the formatting, because I don't know how long the formatting is. That might take up the whole month of June. If I'm lucky, I can format, like 30, 40 pages a night and have it done in no time flat, But while I'm formatting, I'm going to be rereading. So, I don't know how many pages this book is going to be. I really have no idea. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere between the 300 and 400 page. Well, I'll say between 250 and 350 pages. I don't mind if the book's a little bit shorter as long as the story's excellent, right? In fact, if you're going to write your first book, maybe write a small book first just to keep yourself motivated or whatever if you're one of those people. For me, like if I knew I was going to write like 500,000 words, it wouldn't matter. Just okay, plug away at it. It's just I want to get my first. I don't care how long my second book takes me. It's just I want to say I wrote a book in my lifetime, right? Even if I only ever write one and finish it to completion, that's a huge task and goal in itself. I can't stress that enough. So my goal is basically if I can get all that done by the end of the month and start the formatting, before the end of the month, it sets me up really well in, maybe by mid-June or whatever, or late June, you guys get a book, you know what I mean? And I get my accomplishment. Now, if anybody ever buys the book, I don't know, but and I'm not one of those, oh, no one's ever going to buy it, because it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. It's either going to be nobody buys it at all, whatever. Because I won't be shopping this to my relatives and stuff like that. That's this book. In fact, I haven't really told many people about it. I'm really going to rely on the strangers because of how offensive the book is. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of foul language in this book, and there's a lot of really heavy subject matter in this book in parts, right? It doesn't go into crazy detail, but it's stuff that like the book is going to make people uncomfortable. It's a critique of woke, and you guys know all the things that the woke people are advocating for. You know what I mean? Some of that's in there. It talks about racial issues. Again, it talks about censorship. It talks about like the Epstein class. It talks about stuff like that. Not directly, it's not directly, but the parallels will be there. And in by 2060 that stuff isn't going away because we're not doing anything about it now. You think we're going to do anything about it then when people are even more moralists? You know what I mean? And morality becomes a big part of even the main character. It's like, okay, there's things that are happening to him. Okay, not all of it is bad. Most of it is bad, but not all of it is bad. And it gives him advantages that other people wouldn't have. Should he have that? You know what I mean? Like the book is kind of a. I don't know of any other story that kind of lines up with it. Like I'm trying to think. Okay, well, is there a movie I've ever seen that has been like this? And I can't really. So I can even see this thing. If it gets the right promotion, it could become a cult classic. Just because it's not like it wasn't done through the lens of here's my publisher telling me what I should and shouldn't say because it might offend this people. No, I'm just putting it out there. If you're offended, you're offended. I'm just happy you read it. You know what I mean? My goal isn't to offend people, but maybe to like it gives them a little bit of slap in the back of the head, saying, "Hey, I'm reading about myself a bit here." You know what I mean? Because it will make you question things. And again, it's not just picking on one side. Like it picks on the right as well as the left, right? A little bit, but it's not focused solely on that. It's just here's a guy in that world, and how would like what would like how would you deal with it? But there's some really interesting characters. But what made these characters like that? And not saying there's going to be a follow up book, but like to 2060 Dystopia. But there might be an explanation book as another standalone that like some of these characters might move on into other books. Like it depends. I'm 52. I'm economically. I'm economically undependent. I don't know what word I'm looking for here. Working class poor. So I can't just sit there for a year pounding out 3 or 4 books, 5 books a year. I could do it. Like, for example, if I had the voice writing thing, I'd probably be done the rewrite by now. Just because you can read aloud faster than you can type, right? But I need to make money to be able to get that program, right? So the program I have, I forget the name of the program I'm using, but anyway, it's doing the job, but I'm doing it tick, 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 tick. One at a time, right? I'm doing it on like no budget. The copyright is probably going to be the most expensive thing I'm putting into the books. So when you hear the average person spending $3,000 to $6,000 to put out their first book, that's because they hired an editor to do 2 or 3 rounds of editing. They hired a graphic designer for the cover art. They paid somebody to format the book for them. I'm doing it all myself, like all that stuff. Maybe they paid for some promotion stuff, whatever. For me, I'm going, okay, you can technically upload the book for free. Let's see how free I can get it. It's just the copyright. I need a registered copyright so nobody, even if I copyright the book for free, like in Canada, your intellectual property is already copyright, but then if you don't register it, you could be in a court battle, something. And there's always that person that's like, oh, hey, this thing's not copyrighted properly. Yeah. No, cross your T's, dot your I's, get that done. I was hoping to do it this weekend, but I realized today's Sunday, so I guess it's not going to happen this weekend. It's just I'm too tired. Like yesterday wasn't a hard day work wise. It was just average work, but the cycling was the extra. Like it made it a long day. So like it. I know next week shouldn't be as bad, but next week hopefully everything will be normal. I'll get at least Saturday off, and have an early Friday. If I could do 2 places on Friday, that's not so bad. But doing like it's the 2.5 hours of cycling on a very painful seat. With the like the extra weight on my back. Oh, there's the Palmobile. I can hear him. You said 9? Like the 8:39. I got metal.